That up at the ring whenever you guys are ready. We will have the first group of market heifers. Entering in the ring is the first class of market heifers. These three animals, difference in weight here of 850 to 986 pounds. Final call for group number 2 market heifers.
We kick off our lighter weight market heifer show. 3 entries in this class. Some variation in where these cattle are at relative to the end of their feeding timeline. The young lady's heifer that's going to start the class to me is the freshest and the most balanced in terms of muscularity. I don't think there's a heifer that's really going to blow you away as far as end product, but I think for this stage in the game, this heifer's got adequate muscle down her top. She's really wide out of her upper hip and to her pin set. She's the stoutest boned heifer of this group. Where I think she dominates these cattle is in terms of structural design, balance, and quality look from the profile. The young man's heifer that's coming in second. Young lady, go ahead and spin out and head out the gates here on the far end of the arena. The young man's heifer that comes in second is further along in terms of her finish. She's going to finish at a lighter weight when it is all said and done because she's just closer to her end point. And that's what makes that top decision interesting today. A big-bodied female with width through her skeleton. She's a little plainer to look at in this show ring environment. A little more skin up front, maybe not quite as correct and how she sets her feet and legs down to the surface. Female that closes the set is one of the taller, longer, stronger top-lined females of the group, but she just gets too base now. She needs to be opened up and made more muscular end to end to compete in this market class.
Congratulations to your Group 1 class winner, Lainey Tronick of Wymore. Second place, Jude Beavers of Beatrice. Those two will come back to compete after Group number 3 for the Grand and Reserve Market Heifer. Receiving the blue in that class goes to Courtney Holiday. Entering the ring is Group number 2 Market Heifers. Heifers weighing 1046 to 1184. First call for Group number 3. Second call for Group 3 Market Heifers. Second call, Group 3.
All right, as we get into this next class of market heifers, a good solid class to get the opportunity to judge. I think the top two cattle the young men bring to us are really powerful. I think as you get your hands on the cattle, you view them down their top, out of their hip, they're the ones that are going to impress you in terms of total mass and dimension. Those that are just behind me can also tell the black heifer maybe maintains her width a little more genuine out to her upper pin set. She has a little more shape through her stifle. I think she's a heifer that's a touch leaner when you get your hands on her. I think she's just going to be a little more carcass oriented. Plus, as you get the cattle profiled, you study them from a balance perspective. She's tucked in neater at her shoulder. She's cleaner through her chest. Both cattle aren't perfect in terms of their structure, but for the amount of mass and width of skeleton that they have, I think they're ample in this setting. Young man's red and white heifer hit me strong at start. She's really bold through the center part of her body. She's a heavier boned, bigger footed female than the one that goes ahead and starts the class. As you let her balance from the side, she doesn't hit you as hard. She's lower at the point of her shoulder. She carries more through her chest floor. Like I said, both cattle could move a little more correct in terms of their hock and their pass turn down to the surface. The next two cattle are very similar. The young lady's got some cattle that to me are market ready. They handle like they're finished over their 12th and 13th rib. The differences that I see, the young lady's heifer here that's a little stronger topped. She's got more dimension behind her blades. I like her over her 12th and 13th in terms of muscularity. She's not as thick through her pin setting and down through her quarter as what we find in the baldy female that slides in fourth. I like the easy feeding look of both of those heifers. That's why I kept them together and awarded them blue ribbons. Over the young man's female that's next, I just think they're more market-ready cattle that hit me a little more practical in the depth of their rib, their forerib, and their flank. Young man's heifer that settles into fifth, I like that female. She has gas in the tank in future. Today, she's a little too raw and tight in her body. She hasn't softened and fattened enough for this endpoint, but the quality, design, and muscularity is there. And the young man that closes has got a female that's sound. She needs to be opened up and more muscular to play with those other cattle in this group.
Results of group number 2. Congratulations, winning that class, Dayton Pullman. Other purple in that class goes to Brecken Niemeyer. Receiving blues, Maria Richards, Dayton Dorn, and Evan Quackenbush. Receiving a red, Ryan Kraus. Into the ring is group number 3, market heifers. Heifers weighing 1310 to 1432. Following this class, we'll need the first 2 out of group number 1 and group number 2 to come back and compete for the Grand and Reserve Champion Market Heifer. Following that, we will go into the Market Steers. 4 classes of Market Steers. First couple classes of those only have a few head in them, so just pre-prepared.
Well, in the final class of market heifers, a little bit of weight variation. The lightest weight heifer is going to win. The reason she wins for me is compositionally, she's the freshest. And yet I think all these cattle are blessed with a lot of muscle and shape. And I think at the end of the day, we're hunting for a lot of ideals in a market show. We want to maximize, obviously things as far as carcass merit. We would like to see as much muscle as we can get in the right kind of fat and finished product, and yet we still have a cow show in front of us. And I think all things considered, this is the best balanced, nicest, most attractive female from the side. She gets a little off from hooks to pins. She'll want to rotate down in her hip and get a little outside of herself in her rear leg. But as far as making them opened up and muscular with an attractive, fresh look, to me, she runs away with the class. The next two cattle are similar, but I split them a little bit in terms of composition. Young man, smoky female, to me rivals the winner as far as just overwhelming muscle down her back and out of her hip. She's got a little more condition, but I think still fits in that window of acceptability. She's got enough more rump shape than the heifer that comes in third that I'll slaughter second. The black heifer is finished, maybe to the point that I'd like to lean her up a little bit in her overall composition, but there is end product value, body, and doing ability, and feeding ability in all those cattle in this class. Great class of heavyweight market cattle.
Congratulations from group number 3, your class winner, Natalie Tronick of Wymore. Second, receiving a purple, Bentley Myers of Wilbur. And third, receiving a blue, is August Gerlach of DeWitt. We will now compete for the Grand and Reserve Champion Market Heifer here at the Gage County Fair. Out of group number 1, Group number 1 class winner was Laney Tronick. Second was Jude Beavers. Your Group 2 class winner, Dayton Pullman. Brecken Niemeyer. And from Group 3, Natalie Tronick and Bentley Myers.
Well, we have 3 class winners and 3 seconds out here for our champion and reserve champion market heifer. A lot of variation in weight. This lightweight heifer that wins the first class, she's as balanced, eye-appealing, and nice structured as any. I think out here she's obviously a long ways away from her end point. We could certainly add some mass and power to her, but I think she'll feed out when she hits that target weight. I think she'll be right there in the end as far as being competitive. We ran into class 2. We had a pair of them that were very similar. The black heifer had a notch more balance from the side, nicer chested, better topped and hip. Both cattle were really muscular. Young people did a good job selecting a pair of market heifers that fit the mold and the prototype that a lot of people think about. Heifer that wins the third class, a little different size and shape maybe than what you expect from a market heifer, but when you just back up and evaluate them in terms of terminal traits, muscularity, width, fleshing ability, but also putting in some show ring appeal and balance and structure. To me, she hits all those targets the closest. Let's congratulate this young lady on your champion market heifer at this time.
Congratulations. Your grand champion market heifer, award sponsored by the Gage County Farm Bureau, goes to Natalie Tronick. Reserve grand champion market heifer, award sponsored by Ferguson Farms, goes to Dayton Pullman. Congratulations. At the ring, we need to have group number 1 market steers. First and second call for group number 2. Group number 3 be making your way to the ring as well. Final call for group number 2 market steers. In the ring, group number 1, steers ranging from 482 to 654.
Pair of lightweight calves here that are quite a ways from their end point. The black calf's a little bigger bodied kind of steer. He doesn't maybe have quite enough muscle down his top, but I placed him based on just his flushing ability and feeding ability today. The red and white calf, long strided, he needs more muscle as we study him throughout. For a market animal today, congratulations and thank you to these exhibitors for working with their projects throughout the year.
Congratulations, your top of the class there was Devin Anderson, and receiving second in that class, Addison Mullins. At the ring will be group number 2. Should be 3 steers in this class, ranging from 758 to 1,006 pounds. Second call for group number 3. Final call, group 3 market steers. Final call, group 3. I'd like to thank our judge again today, Brady Jansen from Cortland, Kansas. He's married and has 2 girls, where they raise Hereford cattle down there. He is the regional beef manager for ST Genetics, graduate of Kansas State, where he's also on the livestock judging team. And he's a livestock judging coach at SDSU. Let's give a round of applause for our judge today, Brady Jensen.
A lightweight class here, again, not quite where we're going to call these calves finished yet. The differences that I see, and I think good discussion after what we evaluated in the last class. A young man wins this class because he's got the best kind of steer. I think he's the closest to the center in terms of a balance of traits. He's probably the lightest muscled of these three, but he's the only calf that gets around the ring correct in his structure, and he has a nice look to him. And I think he's got plenty of muscle. In the world of beef cattle, he just maybe doesn't have quite the muscularity of the cattle just behind. The black calf that's next is probably the second heaviest muscled, so honestly the cattle are placed inverse of muscularity. I thought this calf was a little too big in his joints. He had a hard look about him in his forerib and his flank, but he did have some muscle shape, so you studied him down his top. As we concluded this class with a red and white steer, the last class was concluded with a red and white steer, and this is where I'd say people need to think a little bit about a balance of traits. I told the young lady in the last class I needed more muscle in her calf. This young man went out and found about the most muscular calf that you could find, but he probably was a little too restricted in his growth pattern, a little too restricted in his structure, so I'd like to just see a few more balance of traits in that calf as you work towards finding a project next year.
Out of group number 2, a class that consisted of 1 blue and 2 reds, top class, Jonah Lavelle, Savannah Mason, and Kaysen Cotis. Coming into the ring will be group number 3 of 4 of the market steers. These will be steers weighing 1214 to 1274. First call, group 4 market steers. First call, group 4. Second call, group 3 market steers. Second call, group 3. Okay. Might have misspoke there. I believe Group 3 is in the ring, so it'd be Group 4 would be final call.
Okay.
One blue and one red.
Okay.
A really good class of steers that was fun to evaluate. I think there's a lot of differences, but I think as you step back and look at him, there's always going to be one calf that wins the class because he's the best combination of market cattle. He's got enough muscularity and width down his top. Young man, go ahead and circle him around and start heading out the ring. He's one of the thicker rump calves of the group. I think he handles good. He's muscular down his top. He's finished adequately over his rib cage. Structurally, you can get into a lot of conversation amongst these top four. I think that calf needs to be sounder off of his rear two. He's one of the sounder cattle off of his front two. Young man's short-tailed calf that comes in second, I think is just a good kind of calf. He's got a big, strong back in him. He's good behind his shoulder blades, wide over his top. I think that's a nice, long-strided kind of steer. He's a little out of balance. The bigger sheath steer's got just a little bit shorter tail. He maybe wants to wing out in his shoulder. He's not nearly as punchy and muscular as you get on top of the cattle. If you strictly wanted to structure the cattle out, young lady steering third could have been the calf that you targeted to move on up the class. I think that calf's got good feet. He moves appropriately as you watch him stride off either end of his skeleton. What's interesting is that calf's got a big hip. He's fairly wide built in the rear third of his body. He's too closed up in the front third. He gets flatter in his forerib. He doesn't have enough muscle right behind his shoulder. I think that calf had just a little more shape in a few areas. I think we'd really start to like that steer. I believe the Smoky calf was next. Very muscular, just needs to move better in his structure. Next, we went with the Hereford calf, a very sound, long-strided calf that's a little flatter made, and we concluded with a big black steer that was a little too flat-muscled in this setting.
Entering the ring is group number 4, our final class of market steers. Steers weigh in 1294 to 1456. Results from group number 3. Congratulations to class winner Dayton Pullman of DeWitt. Second place goes to Logan Koenig of Beatrice. Receiving a purple in that class was Grace Lavelle. Class awarded 2 blues, went to Chase Larson and Addison Koenig. And receiving a red was Zane Brandt. Following selection of this class, there was no purple awards given in Group 1 or Group 2. So out of Group number 3, we will need Dayton Pullman and Logan Koenig to bring your animals to the ring. Following selection of the Grand and Reserve Champion Market Steer, we'll go right into the Beef Show. Those are broken out by breeds. So we probably want to do first and second calls. Just be prepared to have your animals come up.
Another really good class of steers. We're getting into some bigger, heavier weight cattle. And I think as we look at the industry right now, all these cattle are very much so in the window of where we're trying to get cattle. Honestly, calf that wins, if we're judging him Mark Reddy today, he might not be quite hitting that end point, but he's the best calf in this group. I think he's way more muscular than you anticipate as you get your hands down his back. He's fresh, shaped up behind his rib and loin. I think that steer really dominates the class in terms of structure. Great feet, floats as he goes, beautiful set to his knee, wonderful set to his hind leg. He maybe is a little plainer to look at, but I think relative to the cattle in this group, he is the attractive calf, actually, despite his sheath and extra chest floor. The best beef steer that's left is the Hereford calf. Great big bodied, lots of muscle, very, very big in his forearm and foot. Doesn't have the show ring balance and appeal, maybe as some of the other cattle, but if we just think about adding a lot of weight per day of age, performance, muscle, and stoutness, he's the one that fits in second best. Young man's calf that comes in third, I toyed with putting second. He's muscular in his top, long-bodied and a good hipped kind of calf. He's a little bit shallower through the middle part of his body. It makes me wonder maybe if it took a little more input to get that calf to that heavier weight. But big picture, he's muscular, he's sound, he's a nice kind of calf that's very much so deserving of a blue ribbon. The next calf I'd say is a blue ribbon winner as well. Here this red calf is muscular top, he's thick-ended, he's a little big hocked. As you study his rear joints, they're a little puffy, but I think this steer is long top, straight topped with some muscle. Young lady's black-white face calf here, I think is a practical, easy feeding kind of steer. He's certainly big enough bodied. I think he's very functional. As he's asked to lead, he wants to hock in. And I think that starts to lead you to believe he's a little narrower pin, not quite the muscle down his top, but a big rib, practical steer that's certainly deserving of a blue ribbon. The next calf's a big, long-sided kind of black steer, very, very easy feeding. I think he's also a blue ribbon award winner in this setting. I'd like to maybe trim him up compositionally, but I think in the big picture, a young man got him fed right. He's big-barreled and he sounds structured. Nice calf to conclude the class.
Yes. Yeah, 2 purples and the rest were blues.
Results of group number 4, first place, receiving a purple, Tatum Schroeder. Other purple in that class, congratulations goes to Brianna Spoker. 3 through 6, receiving blues, Bentley Myers, Elise Derrickson, Rachel Beeler, and Gage Argo. At the ring now should be the first and second purples from group number 3 and group number 4 to compete for the Grand and Reserve Champion Market Steer here at the Gage County Fair. Just drank one. We'll pick the champion, reserve champion market steer. We'll go right into the breeding beef show. Looks like we have 4 classes of Angus. Start bringing those to the ring. They'll go through fairly quickly, followed up by Bronby. Our top award winner entering the ring is Dayton Pullman, followed by the winner of Group 4, Tatum Schroeder. On deck in the ring will be Logan Koenig and Brianna Spoker.
No, that's good.
Well, the steers are getting hot, so we're going to keep working through the show. We just had 2 classes where we awarded some purple ribbons of market-ready cattle that were ready to go. I think, as we get back out here, I think there's 2 cattle that have muscle and they're sound, and one of them's quite a bit just better balanced in quality. Please put your hands together for these exhibitors in this market steer show. I'll show you the 2 I like.
Congratulations, your grand champion market steer of the 2023 Gage County Fair and Expo goes to Tatum Schroeder of Beatrice. That award was sponsored by Bouchide Inc. Congratulations to the reserve champion market steer. Award sponsored by Beatrice Concrete Company. Goes to Brianna Spoker of DeWitt. We'll go straight into our breeding beef show. This is going to be the first class of Angus. Got 1 entry here. Spring yearlings, junior yearlings, and cow-calf pairs of Angus also be making their way to the ring. Then go into the Bronvies after selection of the champion and reserve Angus. This class is a summer intermediate yearling, May 1st of 2022 to August 31st of 2022.
Just a nice little Angus heifer to start, nice structured, very feminine, nice enough in her body. I think a female that'll stack in nicely. Definitely a purple ribbon award winner here in this class. Congratulations, it's a nice heifer to bring to the fair.
Receiving a purple in that class, congratulations to Reese Barnard. At the rings should be the spring yearling class. That'll be followed by junior yearlings. Need the top first and second purples from all these classes to come back and compete for the champion reserve champion Angus.
A young lady here that just had a good day in the steer show brings us some March Angus female, pretty from the side, very, very well presented female. She vanishes just a little bit from behind. I'd like to stouten her up, but boy, she's nice to look at from the side view profile. Just a smooth-made, level-lined purple ribbon winner here in this Angus show.
Receiving a purple in the spring yearling class, congratulations to Tatum Schroeder. Entering the ring now will be our junior yearlings. These are January 1st of 2022 to February 29th of 2022. On deck should be the cow-calf pair.
All right, two nice breeding females. The exhibitor that's going to win the class is a little bigger, longer, kind of heifer. I like her levelness and correctness of hip. As she's asked to walk, I think she's got more length and correctness to her stride off of her rear leg. Both of these females are going to be nice turnout females. They got the right kind of udder structure. They're feminine enough to look at. The next heifer's got a little more shape to her rib up high, maybe a little more muscle down her top. She's not put together quite as nice structurally, particularly as you study her hip and hind leg design. Both are good cattle, just some minor differences.
Your class winner from the junior yearling class, congratulations to Bailey Barnard of Beatrice. Also receiving a purple in that class, Avery Barnard. The ring should be our cow-calf pair for Angus. Following this, we will need all the first and second place animals from the Angus classes to compete back, to return back to compete for champion and reserve champion Angus. We'll then move into the Bronze breeds. There's two classes of those, followed by Charlet. Gage County Ag Society would like to remind everyone, if you have not done so already, here in the beef, to pick up your premium auction form. Need to have this completed and filled out 1 hour after the swine show is complete tomorrow to make sure you take part of that in Sunday. So again, if you have not received your form, they are up here at the announcer stand. Deadline is 1 hour after the show tomorrow.
Nice cow-calf pair here in our Angus show. Nice enough uddered cow. We could shorten her teats, maybe increase her milk flow just a bit, but she's done a nice job raising her calf. The calf's an upgrade to me in terms of phenotype. So, young man, you got her mated to the right bull to raise a good calf. I think the female looks like she's a female that can last in a herd for quite some time. She's raising a good calf, so I think that's a great start to your breeding program. Congratulations.
Your champion in the cow-calf pair is Kyler Cotis of Odell. At the ring, we should be entering the first and second purples of our Angus classes. All the Bronvies, be bringing your animals to the ring. Two classes of those. It won't take too long, so then we go right into Charlet.
All purple ribbon winners here in the Angus show because they were good cattle. Functional, good females. I think there's two that shine. They have their differences. I'll show you the way I like them, but it's warm out. This is a lot of work. Let's put our hands together and congratulate our Angus exhibitors.
Congratulations, your champion Angus breeding beef board sponsored by Kamek Farms of DeWitt went to Tatum Schroeder of Beatrice out of that spring yearling class. Reserve champion Reese Barnard of Beatrice coming out of the summer intermediate yearling class. Have two classes of Brondbys, and we'll go into Charolais.
Just a single entry, be a purple ribbon winner here, a good female. And the Brondby breed, I think just her length of stride and her body type and her muscle, all are going to pay a lot of dividends as a brood cow. I think a good kind of female. She needs to be neater up front, but just in that kind of population of genetics, I think she does a lot of things that are very right and good. I think that's a good Brondby female in this class.
Out of the fall heifer class, lower entry, receiving a purple. Congratulations to Paisley Seabrandt. At the ring, junior yearlings. It would be cattle from January 1st of 2022 to February 29th of 2022. Following this class, we'll need the first and second purple award winners out of these classes to come back and compete for the champion and reserve Brondby. I'd like to thank our reserve champion Angus Award. That was sponsored by Tread Central.
Two purple ribbon winners here. The Baldy female is just a little deeper ribbed, a little more correct in her spine. Both are good functional females, but just thought there was a little more fleshing ability in the heifer that wins. Young lady's heifer that's second, but probably a little more what I expect as far as bone from a Brondby, and she's got maybe a little more shape of muscle. I'd like to just correct her spine, and when she's moving, I think it's a product of how her hind leg is designed, but both are really good kind of Brondby cattle.
Congratulations, both animals receiving purples in that class. Winning it was Landry Krause of Burr. Second was Paisley Seabrandt of Jansen. Will now compete for the champion and reserve champion Brondby breeding beef.
Very good. I thought nice heifers, really, three of them, and deserving of purple ribbons. The young lady's heifer up here is actually going to be our champion, so congratulations to you. I really like that heifer calf, and the young man's Baldy will be reserved. Congratulations to him.
Congratulations, your champion Brondby went to Paisley Seabrandt of Jansen out of that fall heifer class. That's an award sponsored by Seabrandt Family Farms of Jansen. Reserve champion, award sponsored by Zollner Ford, Lincoln of Beatrice. Congratulations to Landry Krause of Burr. Came out of the junior yearling class.
Young man's got a powerful Charolais female, big top, big hip. We could neaten up her head and her neck and make her just a little more feminine, but just as far as what you expect from Charolais cattle with some shape, some performance, I think she fits that bill very, very well. She'll be a purple ribbon winner in this setting.
Out of the fall heifer class, purple goes to Bentley Myers of Wilbur. At the ring should be our summer or intermediate yearling Charolais, May 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2022. 2 entries in this before we move to junior yearling and the cow-calf pairs, followed by the champion reserve champion Charlet. Next breed up would be Galby. 1 entry in that, followed by Hereford.
They've had a very strong heifer show, lots of good cattle, and it continues in this class. I like both of these heifers. It's what I told the exhibitors, and we saw both of them in showmanship. The differences that I see is structure. Neither of them are perfect in that regard. Set up, the heifer up front looks like she's got more set to her hind leg. As she walks, she's more functional, longer strided, better topped. I much prefer how she's laid in her tail head and grow bone. That's a bigger bodied, looser heighted kind of female that I see just a little more cow quality in. There's a neat profiling female in second. She is more petite about her head and her neck. She's cleaner fronted, really shapely in terms of muscle. I rate her a little too round in her muscle and hip design. She's a little tighter flanked. Maybe got a bruised rib there. You can see that swelling on her show side. Those are two good cattle.
Out of that class, both purples. First went to Zachary Schnelly, and second went to Hannah Schnelly. Now the junior yearling class, January 1st, 2022 to February 29th of 2022, to be followed by the cow-calf pairs.
Big, strong female here in this Charlet show. I like her top. I like her width of base. She's good at her structure. She'll be a purple ribbon winner as well. We could tidy her up in her sheet or in her navel. She's a little raw in her makeup, but that's a sound, long, big-bodied, powerful Charlet female.
Receiving a purple in the junior yearling class goes to Caleb Schnelly of DeWitt. At the ring now should be our cow-calf pairs for the Charlet. Following that, we'll need the first and second purple winners to compete for the champion and reserve champion Charlet. 1 entry for Galway should be coming up to the ring, followed by Hereford's.
I think with the calf market the way it is, this young man's probably pretty happy he got a pair of bull calves here just behind. That'll be a nice boost to the 4-H Project record books this year. That really strong, big female, big foot, long-bodied, little longer teated. Them bull calves are stretchy and growthy. Set of horn cattle here in front of us. We'll give them a purple ribbon as well because it's hard to deny she's raising 2 big calves here all by herself this summer. Hot summer, dry summer, and doing a good job.
Congratulations, receiving a purple in that class, Karsten Schnelly of DeWitt. Will now compete for the champion and overall, or the champion and reserve champion breeding beef for Charlet. Champion is sponsored by Landmark Implement. Reserve Champion Award today is sponsored by Roars Machinery, Inc. At the ring, we need to have our Galvey entry, our lone entry, followed by the Hereford classes.
I think here in this group, you can probably discuss some different cattle. There was two that hit me pretty hard. I did like all of them, though. The cow-calf pair is impressive. Just to have a pair of bulls like that, the young man's heifer behind, really strong and a little plainer, and a yearling heifer is a little plainer fronted, but you could argue maybe her body and structure is a little better in my reserve, but I like the two that came out of this class here, them really nice made females in front of us. So congratulations to the young man right here. He'll be champion. The more typey heifer that's a little rounder hip to be reserved. Congratulations to both of these exhibitors.
Congratulations to Zachary Shelley of Beatrice for winning the Champion Charlet. Reserve Grand Champion went to Hannah Schnelly, also Beatrice. Both those animals came out of that second summer or intermediate yearling class. At the ring, we should have one entry for Galvey. Followed by Herefords, where there's just two, and then Limousine, where there's two.
Here's a good cow prospect. Great big body, love her rib cage, so bold. Look at her stand there. Nice top, great hip. I think the reason she can present herself so nicely is because her feet and legs are correct in the angles of her skeleton. She's not the nicest in the shape of the top of her neck and her head, but her body and her structure and her muscle is what I expect from really efficient Galvey cattle.
Champion Galvey Breeding goes to Heather Goes of Odell. That award was sponsored by M&P Galvey, Mark and Patty Goes of Odell. In the ring is going to be our lone class of Herefords. Out of this class, we're going to have the champion and reserve champion selected. At the ring, we need to have our limousine classes, followed by the Piedmontese.
We're going to leave these two as they stand. Good pair of Hereford heifers. Hereford guy myself, I like the eye pigment, the color, the performance, and the young man's heifer with a really fluffy tail to win this class. She's a little straight in her hock. We could stouten her up in her full rib, but that's a very, very powerful female. It's got a great look to her. I really like her Hereford character to her eye and her pigment. There's a part of me that wanted to switch the pair because I like the softness of body and flank and boldness of full rib of your heifer, young man. I think she's a little more feminine, a little longer strided in her hind leg. I'd like to stretch her out a little bit more and give her a little more shape. I think if you could be in the middle of these two, you'd have an awfully good one, but I like both of them in this class, and that's how I'll rank them. Congratulations. really solid pair of Hereford females in this class.
Your champion Hereford goes to Trevor Kapke of Wilbur. That award sponsored by Homestead Land Company. Reserve champion Hereford, sponsored by Frontier Cooperative, goes to Chase Larson of Beatrice. At the ring will be our one class of limousine. These are summer intermediate yearlings. May 1st, 2022 to August 31st, 2022. Out of this class will be our champion, reserve champion. At the ring, we need to have our classes for Piedmontese.
All right, in this limousine class, a lot of variation in these two cattle. It's going to depend on where you put your priorities. I guess I like the more feminine heifer. She's a little longer cannoned. She's leaner and greener in her condition. Those around ringside could say, boy, she doesn't have the muscle or the body of the heifer that comes next. I read her to be a lot more cow-like and feminine in her shapes. Heifer that comes in second is a little too short cannoned for my liking. I'd like to stretch her out, but she does have a lot of muscle to her. I think a part of her expression of muscle comes from the fact that she's a little more jammed up in her kind, but I do like and appreciate what she brings to the table. I think both of those cattle are very good representatives of the limousine breed.
Congratulations, your champion limousine breeding beef goes to Drew Sims of DeWitt. Reserve champion Weston Whitwer of Wymore. Thanks to that champion award, sponsored by Boyer Limousine, Jay and Carol Boyer family down by Liberty. Whitwer Limousine, Steve and Aaron Whitwer donated the reserve champion limousine. At the ring should be our Piedmontese breed. Got 3 classes of those. Then we will have Pulled Hereford, a single entry, followed by a couple entries of Shorthorn, and then we go into Simmentals. First class of Piedmontese, a single entry, is a spring yearling from March 1st, 2022 to April 30th, 2022.
Good strong entry. I think young man's got the right halter on this time. He'll maybe laugh about that. But I think muscular heifer, feminine, nice design, very highly presented. Young man came to get his calf presented nicely, and he's rewarded for that effort today because I like that female for this entry in this class.
Receiving a purple in that class, Kellen Schlickman. Now do the cow and the cow-calf pairs.
No, it should be okay.
All right, just a pair here. I think as you evaluate them, Mom's doing a good job. Healthy looking calf, definitely has some breed character. The cow's maybe just a little bit long-teated. For my liking, we could just see them a little more refined. I think for the amount of muscle shape these cattle have, they move nicely. They're correct in their angles of their skeleton. Congratulations to our pair here in the Piedmontese show.
Yep.
All right, we're going to get to our selection here in our champion Piedmontese. The cow, a little longer teated, like I said. I'd like to maybe change that. I think she's doing a good job with this calf. The heifer just behind strikes me with lots of quality. This young man is going to have your champion Piedmontese at the county fair.
The champion Piedmontese, congratulations, goes to Kellen Schlickman of Beatrice. That award sponsored by Frontier Cooperative. Reserve champion Piedmontese also went to Kellen Schlickman. That one is sponsored by the Gage County 4-H Council. In the ring now is our single entry for the Polled Hereford, going to the Shorthorn class, where there's 2 entries, and then we'll move to the Simmental breed.
Very muscular Polled Hereford female here. I love her top line and how level it is. She's good out of her tail head, big and powerful out of her pins. I think as you study her down from there, we could loosen her structure up. You guys can see her hind legs a little too straight as she stands, and she wants to twist out her front feet. I'd like to soften her structure and body type, make her a little more cow-like. But I like her power parts a great deal. An interesting Polled Hereford female in this class.
Your champion Polled Hereford, award sponsored by Jerry and Terry Naveen of Adams, goes to Dustin Kapke of Claytonia. At the ring, be the spring heifer class for Shorthorn. It's January 1st of 23 to February 28th of 23. On deck will be our spring yearling class for Shorthorns. Then have the selection for the champion and reserve champion Shorthorn, followed by the Simmental breeds.
Young man's got a very sound female. As she walked in the ring in circles, the way she picks her feet up and puts them down is very, very correct. I like the set of her hock. I like the use of her front structure. I think you can see that when she's moving in the balance that she possesses good down her top line. I think proportionally you could give her a little longer hip. You could power her up in terms of rib and body. Structurally, a heifer you can really admire.
Champion out of the spring heifer class receiving a purple is Boston Crawford. In the ring now is our spring yearling class from March 1st, 22 to 4:30 of 22.
We got a really thick roan heifer in here. I think I just watched her travel, and as she turns really wide-based and square down her top, out of her hip, I would say I'd like to extend her growth curve out a little bit. She's maybe a little small for my liking. You can see her quickness and maturity through her skull into her shoulder blade, but she's balanced for her size and very, very muscular, very wide-based kind of female.
Receiving a purple was Bo Beavers of Beatrice. Now will compete for the champion and reserve champion Shorthorn. On deck, we need to have the Simmental classes. That'll be followed by the Foundation Simmentals.
All right, to keep it moving, we really couldn't have two different, more different kind of heifers. We got a little stouty and a really attractive, feminine, sound heifer. I think in my mind, breeding cattle should be built maybe a little more like the red heifer in terms of their structure and their maturity. Put our hands together, congratulate our Shorthorn exhibitors. Young man with a solid red heifer will be our champion.
Your champion Shorthorn breeding beef goes to Boston Crawford of Beatrice. Reserve champion, congratulations, Bo Beavers of Beatrice. Both of those awards sponsored by Landmark Implement. At the ring should be a lone entry for the fall heifer of the Simmental. September 1st, 2022 to December 31st of 22. At the gate should be our spring yearlings.
Young lady brings us this November heifer, and I've been waiting to see what breed she'd come into. She hit me hard in showmanship. Good female. That's a cow right there. Great bodied, very nicely structured. She maybe pull her hock in a little bit from behind. She may be a little deeper in the front of her neck there, but balanced, deep, sound, cowy, just maybe a really good turnout female that's got enough lines and quality that you can really get excited about what she can do as a big bred heifer in the show ring as well. Congratulations, very good single entry female.
Receiving a purple out of that first class is Jordan Van Scoik of Beatrice. Entering the ring is our spring yearling Simmentals, March 1st of 2022 to April 30th of 2022. At the gate should be our junior yearling class.
This young lady brings us a female with beautiful teat structure. I like her refinement of her teats. They're spaced apart, excellent. This young lady did a good job in showmanship with this heifer as well, and she catches my eye because she's so alert and attractive and feminine up front, smooth in her make, good in her body. She wants to walk a little outside herself off her rear too. When she's up front, sometimes you can catch her just a little wide up front. So we could probably strengthen up her top line and level out her tail head. But you like her depth of body, her refinement, and her quality teat structure here in this class of Simmentals.
That was a addition to our program. That was a summer intermediate yearling class. Congratulations, purple out of that class goes to Avery Krause. Now we'll have these spring yearlings, followed by the junior yearlings.
Bald-faced female dominates this class. Humongous rib cage, great feet and legs, stout feet and legs. Like her teeth structure, good down her top, nice tail head, good in her hooks to pins. Maybe not just the sweetest fronted critter in the world, but I think it matches her body and stoutness and brute cow look there back. Heifer that's second's a little greener in her condition. She does have an feminine look about her head and neck. Young man, I wish she had a little more to her middle part of her body versus the heifer that wins. Just a little flatter in her forerib, a little narrower in her base and kind, but a good female in terms of structure.
Out of the spring yearling class, we have one purple and one blue. Purple goes to Luke Katz, followed by Dalton Dorn. At the ring, coming in, should be our junior yearlings from January 1st of 22 to February 29th of 2022. Following this class, we will have the selection for the champion and reserve champion Semitals. Then we'll roll into the Foundation Simmental. First and second Purple Award winners from these 4 classes of Simmentals will come back and compete for that Champion and Reserve Award.
Pretty nice class here of Simmental heifers. I think the top 2 females are close, and I'll tell you how I see them. The young man's heifer with a little white streak down her belly, to me, just strikes me a little more feminine. As you study her down her top line, she's stronger. Behind her shoulders, she's more nearly level out of her hip, set nicer in her tail head. Where they're different is in bone and how they handle their hind leg. She's a little frailer bone. I think she's plenty sound enough as she walks, but by no means is she just really attractive in her hind leg, but I think she's very functional. Young man's heifer that's second has a very intriguing look to her. She's sharp-fronted, clean-fronted, really attractive set to her hind leg. She falls apart in her top line. She's a little easier top, a little higher tail-headed, and that's how I separate that pair of nice cattle in this Simmental division. We got a real moderate, big-bellied female that's going to come into third. She's a little wastier up front, a little deeper chested, a little more tail head. What separated her was she just had a little more set to her hind leg and didn't quite travel the ring with as much comfort as those cattle towards the top.
Your junior yearling class, the champion of that class goes to Brecca Niemeyer. Receiving the second purple is Shelton Crawford. Receiving the blue, Addison Brandt. Entering the ring should be our champion and reserve champion animals. Be the first and second purples from the prior 4 classes. Following this, we will go into Foundation Simmental, followed by Commercial. Competing for your champion reserve champion Simmental from the first class was Jordan Van Scoik. Second class was Avery Kraus. Third class was Brecken Niemeyer.
It was a really good purebred Simmental show. We had some good differences. The youngest calf that the young lady has comes to us as the cowiest one out here in terms of body and structure and refinement. She's maybe not quite as stout and neat in her design as some, but boy, she's really cowy to look at. Heifer is an added entry out of the next class. That one probably doesn't piece together as nice as far as balance, but the parts and pieces are there. I like her teat structure. She's got the feet and leg quality and body shape to have a lot of turnout value as a cow. She just doesn't put and blend her pieces together quite as nice. Then we get into this big stout one that comes to us in a Baldy. She again has got tremendous foot quality. I love the way she moves, so long-hipped and bold-ribbed. Maybe not quite the sweetest up front, but there's not a stouter, sounder, bolder heifer in the show. And the young man won that next class with a good line, feminine female that didn't have the stoutest hind leg, but we read her to be very, very functional. To me, there's an easy winner, and it's this young man's heifer right here. Congratulations to him.
You're going to be reserved, right?
Congratulations, your champion Simmental. Award sponsored by Tronic Simmentals of Weimar goes to Luke Katz of Beatrice. Your reserve champion Simmental. That award sponsored by State Line Farm Simmentals. Jim and Ellen Zavonic of Weimar goes to Jordan Van Scoik of Beatrice. At the ring, we should have 4 classes of Foundation Simmentals. The first class coming in, summer or intermediate yearlings, May 1st of 22 to August 31st of 2022. Following our Foundation Simmental breed, we will go into the commercial.
We're going to leave these two as they came on the ring. There's a wide gap as far as performance. I think there's a narrow gap as far as their quality. So the placing's close. I lean towards the more advanced, bolder, and stouter black and white heifer to win the class. I do believe she could be toned down a little bit in terms of condition. Could slimmer up in her shoulder. That's a nice neck. Really bold-ribbed, very powerfully ended female to go ahead and win this class. I do think young lady's red white-faced heifer here has got the parts and pieces that'll work. Give her some more groceries, let her grow and develop and fill out more, and I think her structural build, her balance and design can play some dividends for you as you go ahead and get her into production. She shouldn't have the mass and power to compete with the heifer that wins the class today. Out of that class, both the animals received purples. Receiving first
Coming back to compete for the overall Foundation Scimitar will be Dayton Dorn. Second in that class, also coming back, will be Savannah Mason. At the ring and entering at the moment will be Spring Yearling. This is a class of March 1st, 22 to April 30th of 22. On deck, we'll have the Junior Yearlings. That class followed by Senior Yearling.
We're going to leave these two as they stand here, but they're two nice heifers. Young man's female that's going to win the class, really level. I like her presentation today. She's fresh in her condition. She's not been overfed by any means, and I think structurally she's correct enough. I could give her a little more set and used to her hind leg, but I think in the big picture of things, her feet are all right. She's good in her body and nice in her top line. The young man's heifer that comes in second does take a longer stride off of a bigger foot, but I think as she stands here, you can see why. She's a little extra set to her hind leg, a little plainer in her overall image, but I do think the fundamentals are here for this young man to have a good cow to turn out on grass and raise him some calves in the future. She's got performance, muscle, she's functional in terms of her structure.
Spring Yearling class consisted of two purples. First place, congratulations, Landry Krause. Second goes to Strider Brandt. Entering the ring is our Junior Yearling Foundation Scimitars, January 1st, 22 to February 29th of 22. On deck, we need Senior Yearling class.
All right, a good class winner in this setting. Beautiful cow prospect. I love her angularity. She's big ribbed, very feminine about her teats. Holds her top line together very correctly. She's probably the frailest boned heifer of the class. She's the most feminine, best kind of cow prospect of the class. The bald-faced, white-footed heifer the young man has, boy, she's stout. One of the bigger topped, wider pinned, bolder rib females we've seen in the show. We would just like to tone her down in terms of her coarseness, bigger shouldered, and just a little tight moving off of her hind leg. Young man's heifer that's third is a good female. She's very fresh in her breeding condition. I like her levelness to top line. She's adequate in terms of her function to her skeleton. I just need to see more turn of rib, body, and muscle in that female to run with the others in that class.
Results of the Junior Yearling class. Class that consisted of all three purples. Rachel Beeler of Sterling. Second went to Miles Esau of Beatrice. Third was Shelton Crawford of Beatrice. In the ring now is our Senior Yearling class, single entry. September 1st of 21 to December 31st of 21. We'll then pick the champion and reserve foundation scimitar before going into our commercial classes.
Here's a long-bodied, long-strided heifer that's got beautiful teat structure. It's already starting to udder up just a little bit. If I'd change this heifer, it'd be her hind leg. She's a little longer-toed. She's a little shallow-heeled, so when she steps down, she hits kind of the back of her foot, then stepping and putting all of her weight right on the center of it. But a long-fronted female that's fresh condition, she's going to make a good cow. Just get her mated to a bull with a little more bone, improve some foot quality, and I think you can have a bred-and-owned heifer to come back and be very competitive at the county fair.
Receiving the purple in the senior yearling class, congratulations, Avery Krause. All first and second purple winners of the 4 classes that we just had come back and are competing for the champion and reserve foundation scimitar. Out of that first class, we'll have Dayton Dorn. Second was Savannah Mason. Spring yearling top award winner in that class is Landry Krause. Second was Strider Brandt. Junior yearling class top award winner was Rachel Beeler. Second was Miles Esau. And out of that last class, senior yearlings, Avery Krause.
As we come to our selection of our champion and reserve champion in this division, I think we got an easy winner, and then I think we could use literally any heifer for reserve because it's very tight. You have a couple of them that are really stout that I'd like to change structurally, and a couple that are very nice structured and feminine that I'd like to stouten up. So I do think there is a female that probably resembles the same outline as the champion, maybe stouter, but just gets a little piecier behind her shoulder. I'll show you the 2 that I like in this division. Please put your hands together and congratulate these young people on a good, strong showing in this division.
Your champion, Foundation Scimitar Award, sponsored by Scully Estates, goes to Rachel Beeler of Sterling. Reserve champion, that award, sponsored by Beeler Farm Repair, Dayton Dorn of Adams. At the ring, we have a senior, 1 spring heifer class of commercial, followed by the summer or intermediate yearling class.
Bald-faced single entry female here. I think at first glance you really like her. She's good fronted, nice in her chest floor, good and bold in her body. I'd like to just lengthen and level out her hip. When she walks, she gets a little rounder in that regard, but boy, sitting profile there, you can really like her intrigue, her female character, and her classiness through her front 1/3. It's a very nice single entry heifer.
Single entry purple award winner is Rachel Beeler. On deck will be our summer or intermediate yearling classes that'll be coming into the ring right now, May 1st of 22 to 8/31 of 22. On deck, we will have the spring yearling class.
A dominating class winner in this setting, very stout, big top, wide pin setting. As the young lady gets her stuck and profiled, she does present a very nice look here from the side. When I just wish you would maintain it as she's asked to go. She'll get a little rounder out of her hip. Maybe she's not quite comfortable how she moves off of her front structure, and I can see it here as she stands. She'll want to fight the young lady to get her neck up quite high enough out of the top of her shoulder, but when she stands, she is a stout, good-looking, powerful female. That's why she wins the class. The Hereford heifer that comes in second, to me, the differences between 2 and 3 are structural correctness and depth of body, and that's why I used the young man's heifer there to slide into second. Female in third is stretchier, longer. She'll want to cross her back legs as she walks, maybe just a little more tubular in terms of her body type, but 2 nice heifers there to close, just a lot of differences in them.
Results of that class, a class that consisted of 1 purple and 2 blues. Receiving that purple was Elsie Warner of Wilbur. Second place, Bo McClintock of Odell. Third, Lane Schnelly of Dillard. All right, probably our largest class of the day coming in here now. This is going to be the spring yearlings, March 1st of 22 to April 30th of 22. First call for junior yearlings. Second call, junior yearling commercial. Second call, junior yearlings.
Oh, what a class. Big class, two really good heifers to sort up, and then you can just pick which one you like. This is the way I like them. I think both are very nice. You could nitpick them here or there. At the end of the day, the one that to me is just a little more my kind of cattle is going to be the young man's heifer that is going to surface in this class. I think she's laid in a little nicer at the point of her shoulder. She's truer right behind her blades and down her back. Really good out of her hip and nice in how her tail head can set down into her pin bones. Structurally speaking, both cattle are very sound. I don't know if either one of them really get up and just grab you in terms of how they're balanced when they move. I think this female's got maybe a little chest, a little fat in her udder, but when she's parked profile, the way she's designed in terms of her lines, a little bigger scaled, a little stronger behind her shoulders, a little better out over her tail head. I think there's more true body shape in terms of her forerib. There's maybe a little more true pin width when you get behind her as well. Heifer that comes in second, really moderate framed, a big high volumed female. I do like the slope of her knee. I like the use of her front structure. I think a female as she stands, she'll want to fall apart a little bit off in her top line, a little higher in her tail head. I'd change the shape of her head ever so slightly as well, but a big-bodied, good structured female. Just some good differences there in that top pair of cattle. A lot of sorting happens here in the rest of the class. Exhibitor 401 that's turning the corner has this brown tinged heifer. I think as she stands and she's parked profile, her design is the closest to those two at the forefront of the class. Very good and dead level in her top line, very good in her structural design. There's a lot of brood cow utility in that bigger naveled heifer that's exiting the arena. She's just a little finer bone than the two ahead. The young man's heifer in fourth. If she had a little more depth of heart and flank, she could have been in third place because she's as big hipped and powerful as any of the cattle there in this top group. The the gray and white heifer that comes next, to me she lands where she does because she best combines body and a structural build that I can stand behind as we go and ask them to go be brood cows. She's a little plainer necked. She's a little narrower based and more one-dimensional as you watch the cattle leave you. And that does create an argument for the cattle here just behind. The white heifer is very stout. That's a big-topped, powerful female. She needs to be a little more feminine for me. You could drop her deeper in her rib and flank, but she's one of the big-boned, stout ones in this class. I think just a very solid, middle-of-the-road kind of replacement heifer that turns the corner. I do think her teats are nice. She's very good in her body. She's still a little too flat from behind. She's probably honestly the narrowest constructed heifer in the class when you study her from her pin bones down to her hocks and to the surface. Red heifer's big scaled and strong topped. She's a little too straight fronted for my liking and plenty flat as you step behind the cattle. Young man's got a very solid black heifer that's going to turn the corner here next. She can give you a look at times, but I thought she was just a little awkward in how she traveled off of her back too. I'd like to give her more stability and use to her hind leg, but I do think that conventionally sized female's got good teats. She's very feminine to look at. The red heifer next is a growthy female that's strong and level topped. I'd like to slope her more through her shoulder relative to the other red heifer. I read this one to be a little harder and flatter, especially for the amount of condition that she's revealing over her pin bones and down through her udder. Young man that closes the class, very high-headed, neat neck kind of female. She just got a little flatter. I thought she was more uncoordinated in the travel of her hind leg. Not quite the same balance from the side view profile, but a nice fronted heifer that the young man brought to the fair. Very strong class with a lot of differences.
Out of our spring yearling class, a class that consisted of 3 purples, 3 blues, and 5 reds. Winning that class was Luke Katz of Beatrice. Receiving second was Tatum Schroeder of Beatrice. Third was Landon Cook. First blue was Kason Niemeyer, followed by Carson Schnelly and Addison Koenig. Receiving reds, Braden Humphrey, Liam Schnelly, Ryan Kraus, Samuel Schnelly, and Peyton Humphreys. Luke and Tatum will come back and compete for the Champion Reserve Champion commercial. In the ring now, another large class. So junior yearlings, January 1st of 22 to February 29th of 22. Following this class, we'll need to have the senior yearling at the gate, followed by the cow-calf pair. At the conclusion of our commercial breeding selections, we will need to have the grand and reserves of all breeds come back up to the ring to get lined up for the grand and reserve champion overall breeding beef.
All right, another really good big class of cattle. The young man brings us a female that, to me, dominates the class in terms of structural build and quality. If you watch the move, the size and shape of her foot, the correctness to her joints off either end of her skeleton are about as correct as you can make them. She's a little short-necked relative to as long-bodied as she is. We could neaten her up to her chest floor. She's got them extra dewlaps there, and maybe doesn't have the most outward turn of rib and body, but boy, I'd like her structural build an awful lot. That's something that the young man will have a lot of fun breeding around as he takes her home and makes a good brood cow out of her. The young man's heifer that comes next is very powerful, big down her top and out of her hip. You can see her stoutness even up to her head, but the problem is it starts to show in her shoulder. She gets a little tighter in her forerib, just not quite as smooth and feminine and cow-like as the heifer that wins. Young lady's heifer that comes next is very fresh conditioned. I like that she's nice in her head and neck. She's up-headed, she's clean-fronted. She needs a little more flank to balance. From the side, there's a little more up front than there is to the rear third of her body, which makes a case for the young man's heifer that comes in next. I do like her rib type. That's one of the easiest fleshing females in class. You can tell it in terms of her body. I would also say you can tell it in terms of her flesh. Today, I'd say she could be leaned up a little bit as we're viewing this heifer in terms of her breeding condition. Getting out on grass and maybe freshen her up might help her out because she comes off a little bit plainer through her neck, and I don't think that's the way she is. I just think she's a little heavier conditioned today. Young man's got a very stout heifer. There's a lot of mass to her body and out of her hip. I didn't read enough female character through her structure and shoulder. She wants to throw her legs as she walks from behind. The pair of cattle that close are different. The gray dapple-hided star-headed heifer is a little deeper, a little bigger in terms of her hip, but she gets finer boned and wants to just track narrow as you watch her go away. And the black heifer that closes, I think, is a big, long female, a little lower-eared, a little flatter muscled, but she's certainly got enough stretch and performance to her.
Results of the junior yearling class, a class that consisted of 2 purples, 3 blues, and 2 reds. Receiving purple, topping the class, is Caleb Schnelly of DeWitt. Second, Dayton Pullman of DeWitt. Receiving blues, Savannah Mason, Boston Crawford, Creighton Koenig. And receiving reds, Claire Schnelly and Jacob Wallenberg. In the ring now is our 1 entry for the senior yearlings.
Really good senior yearling cow prospect. Maybe not a show heifer, but a good cow prospect. If you want to study what the senior yearling's udders can look like in terms of spacing, refinement of teats, she's going to have a beautiful udder if it fills up level because it started out really nice. I think her mature cow size is incredibly ideal, very bold in her rib. She's a little higher in her grow bone, maybe not nicest in how her neck ties to the top of her shoulder, but the cow parts and the middle part of her body are very, very nice.
Congratulations. Receiving a purple is Berkeley Beekman. At the ring, coming in now will be our cow-calf pair. Following this selection, we need the first and second purples from all of our commercials to come back up to compete for the champion reserve champion commercial. Following that, we need the grand and reserves of all breeds to come and compete for the overall champion breeding beef.
Young man's got himself a black Baldy cow here that's certainly working hard. You can tell everything's being put into this calf because she's worked herself fairly lean here. Her udder is a little tilty, but she's productive because her calf is going to weigh up here this fall. I think that's a good little token heifer calf there. That's an upgrade in terms of quality versus the mother's phenotype, meaning the young man did a great job getting that cow mated to the appropriate bull to improve that calf. Congratulations. Takes a lot to deal with the cow-calf pair to show, let alone a show when it's over 100 degrees. So I appreciate your effort in getting this pair presented to us out here today.
Receiving a purple in that class for the cow-calf pair was Kason Cotis Odell. We're now going to compete for the champion and reserve champion commercial breeding heifer. Out of class 1 is Rachel Beeler. Our second class, Elsie Warner. Third class winner was Luke Katz. Junior yearling winner was Caleb Schnelly. Senior yearling was Berkeley Beekman. And Kason Cotis had the cow-calf pair. Second place out of the summer intermediate yearling was Bo McClintock. Actually, he had a blue. He won't be competing on this. Out of the spring yearling, second was Tatum Schroeder. And out of the junior yearling class, Dayton Pullman. Final call for all our champion and reserve champion individual breeds. Please be making your way to the ring. Final call, all champion and reserve breeds.
Well, this has been an outstanding commercial division, and we've worked through some bigger classes and saw some cattle that worked up that we can really like. I won't take the time to talk about each and every one of them, but I can tell you I'm very impressed with this division. There's some cattle that are going to have to go back to the barns that may be better than some division winners that are going to come back to compete for champion. With that being said, I ask you to put your hands together and congratulate the biggest division today because there's a lot of cattle and kids out here deserving of recognition. This young man will be your champion. This young lady behind that was second to her will be reserve. Good job, bud. Take a sip of that water.
Congratulations, your champion commercial breeding beef goes to Luke Katz of Beatrice. Your reserve champion came out of that same spring yearling class of Tatum Schroeder of Beatrice. Now come that time for our final class of the day. This is the Grand and Reserve Champion selection for the overall breeding beef here at the 2023 Gage County Fair and Expo. We need all Grand and Reserve champions from the individual breeds to please bring your animals to the ring.
About 6 o'clock. Every year before that, it's been like 4:30. You're going in final. You're out 1:30. And you don't have to either. That's the nice part. Right.
Competing for this champion and overall reserve champion is Tatum Schroeder of Beatrice out of our Angus. Reserve champion was Reese Barnard. In Bronby, it was Paisley Seabrant being their champion. Reserve champion was Landy Krause. Champion Charlet was Zachary Schnelly of Beatrice. Reserve was Hannah Schnelly of Beatrice. Champion Galvey was Haley Goes of Odell. Champion Hereford, Trevor Kapke of Wilbur. Chase Larson of Beatrice. Champion Limousine was Drew Sims of DeWitt. Reserve champion was Weston Whitwer of Weimar. In the Piedmontese, it was Kellen Schlickman, had both the champion and reserve champion. Kellen's from Beatrice. Champion Pold Hereford, Dustin Kapke of Claytonia. Your Shorthorn was Boston Crawford of Beatrice. Reserve champion, Bo Beavers of Beatrice. In the Scimitars, we have champion Luke Katz of Beatrice. Reserve champion was Jordan Van Squake of Beatrice. Foundation Scimitar, champion Rachel Beeler of Sterling. Reserve champion Dayton Dorn of Adams. In that big commercial division, beating them all was Luke Katz of Beatrice as our champion, and Tatum Schroeder of Beatrice as the reserve champion. That sponsor of that commercial champion was Beeler Show Cattle of Sterling, and thank you to the reserve champion sponsor, Zollner Ford Lincoln of Beatrice. As we conclude today, with this being our final class, we want to give a big thanks to all of our ring help today, Sykes and Oliver, and everybody in the back, Amy Gerlach, Barnard, Frank, all of our ring help. Thanks for helping out today. Before he gives his final talk here, we'd like to thank Brady Jensen of Cortland, Kansas. Once again, his family, his wife and 2 girls, let him come up here today. I'm sure they have a lot going on at home with their cattle, keeping them cool. He's the regional beef manager from ST Genetics, Kansas State Livestock Judging Team, and also the livestock judging coach at SDSU. So he brings a lot of credentials here. We are lucky to have him here today. Let's give him a big, big round of applause. This guy has worked hard today. He has moved through them quickly, and we definitely appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Very good. It's been a wonderful day here. Maybe as hot as some people are, it's actually not too bad under that fan there. So I could have slowed down a little bit, I guess, but I'm normally not one that hides my cards well. I like to just move through when I like cattle. You notice that we judged a lot of them on the move, a lot more than we did on the stand in the breeding cattle show. I think that's because, in my mind, that's the most important view for breeding cattle, and you can see all their positives and all their flaws that much easier. If we're making them stand there and look at them, we can make a lot of them look pretty good. But if they can move and look good, that means they're very good. I've enjoyed working with you young people today at the Gage County Fair. Tremendous showing of beef cattle, and a tremendous, maybe a more impressive showing of beef cattle enthusiasts. I'm not sure I've seen quite this level of participation or this level of competition throughout many county fair shows in the country or in the region. And so my compliments to everyone involved, from the 4-H level to the leader level to breeders in this county or area, and to the junior exhibitors, because it's very, very impressive. You work all summer to get your cattle out here, and yes, the judge might have moved a little fast, but I guarantee you that every animal got a fair look, and I looked them over very, very good. To me, it's a fairly easy choice for your champion and reserve. If I'm being pretty honest, I knew which 2 I liked after we judge them in their particular classes. And so I'll show you the two that I like. But at the end of the day, the cattle is only the byproduct of what we're doing here today. They're the vehicle to really improve these young people's lives. They're going to learn more than just work ethic. They're going to learn how to compete hard to win. They're going to learn how to compete hard to lose. And those are two very, very important things in my mind that young people can live and learn from through this project and other 4-H livestock projects. I know that there's a lot of things that go on in 4-H, but I really hope if there's one thing we can hold on to, and that's competition. Competition drives people to be better every day. And if we heard our 4-H pledge at the start of the day, it was to make the best better, right? If we're going to make the best better, we got to do so by competing and year in and year out, figuring out what can you do better to be more competitive at the county fair the next year. So I'll show you the two I like. These young people have worked really hard to be this competitive. Big round of applause for our champion and reserve champion breeding female. I will say one more thing. The young man did a good job, because I was thinking he was going to lead her in because he brought her in for showmanship. I like this one way better. She's going to be your champion. Congratulations.
Congratulations, your grand champion breeding beef. With that award sponsored by Booth Feeds of Beatrice, the Simmental of Luke Katz of Beatrice. Your reserve grand champion goes to Jordan Van Scoik. That award sponsored by Triple S Cattle. Once again, thanks everybody for coming today. Thank you to our Judge Brady Jansen, all the people that helped put this on. Thanks to Sean Crackey for streaming this live for everybody that couldn't be here today. Remember, you can go to YouTube, search up the Gage County Fair,